Hey there, Big Sexy World Travelers. It's your boy, Big Sexy, here, popping in before the episode just to say a big thank you very much for listening and tuning in. We appreciate you all very much. We ask you to get a chance, please swing over to our YouTube channel over at youtube.com/ Big Sexy Digital Nomad. Give us a subscription. We appreciate it. We need those numbers. Good looking out. And while you're at it, go ahead and share that with your friends, your family, your family's friends, and your friends' family. And heck, even do it on social media and give us a tag. You can tag us at Big Sexy Nomad. We appreciate y'all again so much. To all our scoop friends, fuck you in the face. To everybody else, enjoy the show. Peace. We're 4 away from episode 80, y'all. 4 away. Well, let's say if you have shitty rehearsals, you're going to have an amazing show.
That's what I'm talking about. Leap Day William, Leap Day William, Leap Day William in the house. That's right, this is Leap Day William. I am filling in for Judgmentalist, who I haven't figured out what excuse of him not being here is on this special Leap Day. At least it's Leap Day at the time that we're recording this. We got Big Sexy in the house. We've got a former guest of the podcast back again, and a little added extra bonus because, hell, we're doing this on a day that doesn't exist. What's going on, Big Sexy?
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Whenever this is hitting your ear holes, I hope that it is good. In Big Sexy Digital Nomad fashion, as we get closer and closer to episode 80, more and more weird shit happens. This wasn't weird shit. This was just me so excited to introduce our guest.
No, there was some weird shit in here too, because I'm currently on my backup microphone because I don't know why my regular microphone's not working. So despite the fact that it wasn't recorded, I did an intro silently, apparently. And you know,
and it's crazy because you started out great. It started out fine. It was lovely. And then like in the middle of it, it just cut out. And then I love looking at all three of us kind of going, wait, what's that? Everybody leaning a little close to the computer, squinting their eyes like, is that us? Am I not hearing?
And then I'm sitting here ignorant to it all, being like, boop, 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 boop.
We're sure it was a really great intro, though.
It was wonderful. I mean, I was laughing. I was in stitches. At least my subconscious was, because that's the only thing that heard it.
And even though we didn't record it, there's a Patreon tier that we haven't added yet that's far too expensive for anybody. I mean, like $300 million that you can hear it.
Yeah. And if you pay that, we'll make sure we'll guarantee it.
Schrodinger's podcast opening.
Yes. Hey, do you want to know what's going to make this episode really, really weird? I apparently have a bat in my office. So you guys go. I'll be back.
Wait, what? Are you serious?
I'm like, about to report back.
Oh, wow. Live bat?
Yeah. Oh, man. So was it 76?
Episode 76.
Episode 76, the last episode before Judge got rabies.
Yeah. Well, no, Judge Mentalist will be fine. Leap Day Williams about to be fucked.
That's fortunate for Judgmentalists, yes.
Well, first, ladies and gentlemen, let me go ahead and introduce our guests. I'll do that introduction, the music introduction later. Today, we have special guests with us. Now, you already heard a friend of the podcast, been on here a few times. We talk about him all the time. We have Billy and cruisehabit.com. But today, though, we have one of my favorite people on the planet, Miss Larissa. So shout out for Billy and Larissa.
The crowd goes wild.
Yay!
And Larissa woos.
I wooed with my hands.
Yes.
Hello.
The video woo. The video woo.
Yeah, the video will catch
on a main audio format. Although we do audio and video for the podcast as well. Larissa, welcome to Big Sexy Digital Nomad.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Happy to have you with us.
Happy to be here.
As we were talking before we realized that I wasn't recording, you recently celebrated a birthday.
Yes. Yeah. 2 days ago,
And
February
yes,
27th. I was almost the leap year baby. I was born at
almost
11:45 p.m. So
on.
24 hours and 15 minutes, I would have been a leap year baby.
Yeah, because that there was a
84.
leap year
Yeah.
that year. Yes,
Yep. Yep.
yes. 84, one of the best years ever. It's
That was
21.
also the last time Larissa was early to anything.
Yeah, I was early. It's true.
Well, she said, "Look, I was early the first time. I'm gonna ride that train
First and last.
until yeah, that's right. Never again, never again.
Never again.
Look what happens when I'm early. I miss out on awesome shit. Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what they
True.
say. If you know if you're important enough, people will wait. And that's how I live in the world. Also, Billy, how are you doing, good sir?
I am very well. I'm excited to chat with you guys again because again for Schrodinger's Patreon level, we had a fantastic chat just before starting to record, and it made me realize, and not that I didn't miss you before, but I was like, man, good people, like talking, like hanging out.
Yeah.
Yeah. I tell you, it's funny. I keep reminding myself because I know we met on Virgin Voyages, right? But we met on the 5-day,
Yes.
right? Like, and then about a year later, we took the 15-day transatlantic, But by then we already knew each other. We were great, and the transatlantic is starting to erase that original 5-day. Like the things that happen are starting to blend over. I mean, because two Scarlet Knights, different cast members, both had Bimini Beach Club, right? And so like the bleed over is really starting to lose stuff. I keep going, but I keep enjoying the memory of going to the Dominican Republic and really hanging out and getting to know each other in the pool at the Taiko Bay, Taekwondo Bay, whatever it's called.
Taino Bay. Yeah.
Taino Bay, right? The little pool there and having a good time, really get to know and hanging out and you guys becoming great friends of ours. Even to the point where we got to stay in your humble abode right before the big 15-day transatlantic.
You say you got to stay here. It was like I don't know. It's not the Four Seasons, so it's more like, so we ended up having to stay at your house.
No, see that's we different. I am of the mindset that I would rather stay with loved ones than room service. It's just
generally fair.
Yeah,
I generally agree with you.
Yeah,
I immediately have some exceptions in mind, some caveats,
now, don't
some
get me
carve
wrong.
outs.
I would rather stay with loved ones at a place that has room service.
Right. Like a
right?
ship.
Yeah.
Like a cruise ship.
Yeah.
Much prefer that type of environment.
When we eventually move on to a ship, then you can come visit us there and you get the best of both worlds.
Oh, come on now. We'll be neighbors.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's good because we might even have less space when we move to a ship. There's not a lot of space as it is.
There's not a lot of space. Correct.
We can come over to borrow a cup of sugar and you'll be like, this is weird because they don't have a kitchen and Billy said he never cooks.
Right. And I'm like, what do you mean?
Right, but I like sugar.
Yeah. Go to the galley. Get all the sugar you want. Excellent. So for your birthday, there was a event that happened that I made sure not to spoil because of course I wanted to say, like, I couldn't lock down what day specifically it was, and so I knew I'd had to wait until far enough after that I was sure that it had already happened before I asked you how it was.
So many people were avoiding me leading up to this. It was so funny. Like, so many of the people that were involved just didn't talk to me for a month. And I was like, what is happening? Apparently, a lot of my friends are really bad at keeping secrets. So they just avoided me for a month
Dude,
as they were planning
I
it.
can't talk to her. I can't talk to her. I'll spill it. I can't talk to her. No, I'm good. I'm good at talking and not spilling it. But
Yeah.
you gotta be careful about the conversations you have. Like, oh, you got any
Mhm.
plans for your birthday?
Yeah.
Don't do that. Don't do that. So
The
what did
plan
you
was
what did you guys end
the
up
plan was to
doing?
go to Disney. So the plan was just that we were going to go to Disney World, and then what ended up happening is that we stayed at a friend's house the night before, and the night before, like the when we were going to stay at a Airbnb.
Right.
And when we went to the Airbnb, everything was decorated for as like a funeral theme because it was the funeral for my youth since I turned 40.
Okay.
And it was awesome. And so many of my friends were there and people that I didn't expect. Lori drove down from North Carolina. Audrey came from Canada. Like there were a bunch of people from down here that drove up. So it was really cool. It was really special. And then the next 2 days we got to go to the parks. So we went to Epcot and we went to Disney's Hollywood Studios with all of our
Nice.
friends. We had a really good time.
That's wonderful. Yeah, I was in conversations and hopeful. Like one, I figure if we're going to be back in the States, but then a part of me like, if we go back to the States, how about we just stay in Florida before we go back to California? Just not financially viable or option for us to do because I really wanted to be there. I am a very big supporter of celebrating milestone birthdays. I mean, let's be real. I'm a big supporter of celebrating all birthdays, but
Me too.
but especially milestone birthdays. And I'm like, man, if I can make that, I definitely want to be there in that moment. And ladies and
Yeah, it was a
gentlemen,
really good one.
yeah,
It really was.
yeah.
What a fun day.
And ladies and gentlemen, we have Leap Day William has returned. How was the bat?
Oh, it's still down there. I've got a guy that handles stuff like that. That it's just kind of. I mean, it's daytime, and I think they're nocturnal, so it's probably asleep. I just sent you a picture of it on Messenger.
You have a guy that handles stuff like that. Some people would say exterminator, but what do you have like a hitman that just also does odd jobs on the side? Like, by the way, there's a bat, and could you fold the towels?
Well, he's an exterminator, but I think it's illegal to kill bats, and he's not going to kill the bat. So I chose not to use that specific word.
Interesting.
He's Batman.
A pest guy who handles them the way they need to be handled.
Yeah.
Now, my understanding was that you could just shine a certain light at the sky.
Different bat.
And you would just go to Gotham.
Different bat.
Gotcha. Misunderstanding on my part.
So what we don't yet know is because we've initiated the process of escorting our guest out of here because the response I got just 7 minutes ago was I'm on my way. So that'll be taken care of shortly. I have no idea how he got in here. So
I would say through an opening.
But it's
through your door. I mean, you do live in Maryland.
Yeah, accurate.
And your office is also in Elkton, Maryland, correct?
Yes.
Now, are there fields and stuff near Bauer Law offices?
I mean, we're in a town, so it's more densely populated, but we're not far from fields and barns and things that would normally be where you'd traditionally think of bats.
Belfries.
Yeah.
There's a church a couple doors down the street that they probably have belfries.
I'm willing to bet that's where the bat came from. The bat came from the church belfry. And when it wakes up, it has a pamphlet for you about the teachings of Jesus Christ.
I do not know much about bats. However, I've long understood they have an affinity for belfries. And now I know that they also like to evangelize.
Yes. This is very educational. I thought you were going to say that Leap Day William lived in a cave because you said you do live, and then you said in Maryland, and I was like, oh, not a cave. Okay.
There are caves in Maryland. There are caves
Yeah.
in Maryland. The famous Maryland caves of was wow, my brain is short circuiting. I'm trying to think of the number of cities that I have looked up doing doing some side work, pulling all the high schools in Maryland, and there's some very the caves of Pasadena, Maryland, of Elkton, Maryland, of Shenningdire, in Bellingham, Maryland.
On this episode, we name cities in Maryland.
Yes, because when you think of cities in Maryland, you think about cruise ships. And when you think about cruise ships, you of course have to think about Cruise Habit.
Speaking of segues,
Logically, yeah.
Yeah, you like that? I'm really good. I'm really good. Speaking
I
of
will say
segues,
that I have lost and or won, and I'm not quite sure which, significant amounts of money on cruise ships on a slot machine called Cats, Hats, and Bats. It's
see?
one of those like Locket Link machines.
Now we have it. You lost money on Cats, Hats, and Bats, and that bat is here to collect.
That might be it.
Yeah.
If your pest person comes back with like busted kneecaps, we'll know.
We'll know.
Now I'm being asked to check around the room and make sure there aren't any bats in the room that I'm in, because this one was downstairs.
Any additional bats?
Right.
If you have multiple bats on leap day in your office, I'm gonna call this episode "Weird Shit Part 2." Just as we continue on.
We can't ignore, and as much as I want to take advantage of your segue into the only thing that I know anything about, which is cruising, we can't ignore, for the people not watching on YouTube, we should not neglect to mention why Judge, or the way in which Judge has been replaced by Leap Day William. Right now, it looks like I am on a teleconference with
Captain Kangaroo,
like Captain Kangaroo. I don't want to say evil brother, but yes, like Captain Kangaroo, but blue instead of red. Yes,
Captain
is
Kangaroo's twin cousin.
What was Captain Kangaroo's name? The actor's name. He lived in Vermont. What was his name?
Trivia, Leap Day William. Captain Kangaroo's real name.
Oh no, I don't know.
I've heard of Captain Kangaroo, but I don't know who that is. So
that's because you're Brazilian, and we're gonna get into you being Brazilian and the Americanized pop culture
references that go over my head.
Right,
Bob
exactly.
Keeshan.
Yeah.
Bob Keeshan.
Bob Keeshan?
Yes.
Is that how you pronounce his last name?
I believe so. My father's friend used to live, I think, right down the street from him many moons ago.
So yeah, a couple months ago, I teased this because originally there was supposed to be a variety show this evening. And it's a variety show that, quite frankly, I've been trying to put together for 8 years. And the title of the variety show was supposed to be, and there was some promo that was pushed out for it. And I'll get into the reasons why it got canceled momentarily. But Leap Day Williams, Leap Day Extravaganza. And when I first mentioned that it was happening on this podcast, I let everybody know that the source of Leap Day William, the lore of Leap Day William, roots back to 30 Rock, season 6, episode 9. And I'm not going to say extensive research because that's a lie, but through enough research to be confident, I believe that the character was completely created by 30 Rock and their writers for that episode, that show. Like, it didn't exist before. And it really, other than me doing this, and I'm sure there's some other jackasses out there that, feel the urge to dress this way, but not that I've seen yet. Not that I'm looking for it. Again, same level of research there. It is exclusive to that. And so, again, I don't want to get political and I don't want to go deep into this, but here in Maryland, and we can name some of those cities that Big Sexy knows more than I do, but specifically in my county, there's this big struggle to get our public education system properly funded. And we were throwing this show as kind of an awareness / fundraiser for the schools. Now, public education runs on multi-million dollar, $100 million budgets. So we were certainly not raising money that was going to solve this problem, but it was more of a gesture of showing support, showing the community's interest to those who are making these decisions that, hey, you need to do this. Well, 2 or 3 weeks ago, and this largely was like a student-led charge where they've kind of organized themselves, and there's adults and everything that, and parents in the community that are involved as well. But they had this big, I mean, I want to say like 2,000 people rallying outside of our county administration building a couple weeks ago, showing their support for this, almost like a protest. But I got word as we were putting this show together and trying to finalize everything that, hey, they're having another rally and it's going to be on Leap Day. And I'm like, well, then we can't really have this show because that's pulling people in 2 different places at the same time. So I still dress up as Leap Day William, whether I'm having my show or not.
Excellent.
I mean,
as well, you should.
Leap Day William emerges. Let me correct. So you just edit that in post or leave it in there, whatever.
Yeah, I'll edit it. Yeah,
that wasn't there. I'm high on PCP.
Oh God. Excellent.
No, so anyway, the Leap Day,
it's pretty cool people for our guests being in the house.
Those are the words that you really heard. You're high on PCP. That's what I meant to say. Is that even still a thing?
PCP. It has to be somewhere. It's not popular. It's not as fancy and popular like meth or
fancy meth.
Yeah. Not as fancy as meth.
Not as newsworthy.
Those fancy people with their meth and Suzukis.
With their meth and their PCPs. Yeah.
So now my sister-in-law apparently is en route just to see the bat. Is this a fucking zoo? I run a zoo.
Yeah.
No, you don't. You're the attorney, but I'm pretty sure you do not run a zoo. There are all sorts of implications there. You would need some sign-offs. There's zoning considerations.
Right.
But if somebody wants to make a donation.
That's what I want to know.
Yes.
Can we get a liquor license for the zoo?
Yes. For the Bowers Law and Zoo Office. Definitely.
Bowers Law and Petting Zoo.
Petting Zoo.
Petting zoo.
We have it's a petting zoo, but I mean you pet the bat at your own risk.
Petting zoo reminds me of this game we used to play in undergrad. So we had we're all in intriguing. It's nowhere near as good as you want it to be, but I will say so. The freshman dining hall, and I don't know if this is still the case because I'm an old, so it's been decades since I went to the Rochester Institute of Technology in Henrietta, New York. But our freshman dining hall was, buffet style and all these different stations. I'm sure very similar to most. And when you would leave, because, when you come in, you swipe your card or whatever, and they check you in or whatnot, right? So when you leave, you go down this stairway, and then they had this kind of like rotating cage sort of exit like you would see in like a subway station or whatever.
Okay.
Something so that you leave and you can't
turnstile.
The turnstile.
A large turnstile.
Except it was like a floor to ceiling turnstile, right? So every so often when the mood would strike us, we would pick somebody that we were going to, surreptitiously pull the petting zoo on and make sure that that person was in the middle of our pack as we were leaving.
Are you sure this is not going to be as interesting as it sounds? Because so far...
No, because we were in public. It didn't get as good as it could have or should have or would be videoed as. So as we would go, when that person would get into that part of the turnstile, we would trap it and somebody would yell petting zoo, and then we'd all reach our hands in and pet that person. That was it. That's the whole story. It stopped there.
So it was like an open revolving door kind of situation?
Basically, with
it's
bars,
a graded, have you seen a graded turnstile there, Larissa?
Yeah, Larissa, think about at like a subway station.
Yeah, no, I know what a turnstile is.
But like
he said it was floor to ceiling.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, the graded ones. No, got it. Okay, now
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
picturing the
yeah,
right thing.
yeah,
That makes sense.
yeah. It's a spin
We
Okay.
can catch
around. You
people in
trap
there
in the
'cause we had
middle.
people on both sides, so we could all
Yeah,
reach
and you
in
could-
and get our pets. Yeah, it's all in
Nice.
good fun.
Yeah. That can turn both hilarious and problematic pretty quickly. I like it.
It can.
I like it.
I just now I want us all to plan a trip somewhere with one of those doors so that we can do this. Like I think actually I mentioned subway station. I think that's a good place just because there's a lot of people often,
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think this is something that if we did this, I would want a large number of people watching.
Watching.
Yes.
Yeah.
Going,
well, and to
what the
video
fuck
it
is happening
because
there?
And
again,
in a large
showing my
group.
age, I was in undergrad, like my freshman, sophomore year of undergrad. Most people didn't have cell phones yet, so
There was just somebody off in the corner getting a still picture by holding up the flash bulb on a pole.
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
More
with the
or
film
less.
powder, the
Yeah,
flash
because-
powder.
Yeah.
And really, I want to think that when I probably went through all of undergrad without cell phones having cameras on them. And if they did, they were grainy as fuck and you weren't taking video on them.
Right.
You were just taking stills.
And you were a drug dealer if you had one.
But I will say, as a call to action, since we were reviewing some numbers and everything, the 5% or so of our listeners who are in the high school age, probably friends and classmates of my daughter, when you go to college in the next couple of years, if you have one of these turnstile things in your freshman dining hall, don't forget to play a little,
do a petting zoo, and then go see the dean after.
Yes.
Now I can do this. Now I can do this. Ladies and gentlemen, non-binary genders, here's Big Sexy Digital Nomad News. I'm workshopping that introduction. But we have news, ladies and gentlemen. The reason we have these people on is because we love them and we adore them, and I always want to talk to them.
And everyone else canceled.
Yeah, and I couldn't get Rihanna to return my calls. We have here at Big Sexy Digital Nomad a new sponsorship. Our very first ever sponsor is cruisehabit.com. Now, here's the part where I would normally read the ad for cruisehabit.com, but we just talked about this shit today. So we're
gonna do like an ultra live read where we let the proprietors of Cruise Habit. This is like an infomercial now.
Yes.
But a good one.
You guys sold out quick. I thought you were going to make it to episode 80, and now you're just like, I don't know, man. Let the one sponsor run the podcast until we cut off his mic.
Right?
we take shortcuts. You know what I'm saying?
So, I mean, if it's okay with you guys, I think I'll actually start, rather than talking about Cruise Habit, talking about how this came up and kind of my philosophy, if that's okay
please.
with you guys.
That's fine.
So now I think I moved to my seat and partially unplugged my headset. There we go. So I run this website, and I'll get into that in a second, and YouTube channel and shop and all this stuff. But I listen to you guys and enjoy it. It's easily in my top 300 things to do while I'm at the gym. And I realized you're growing and you don't have a sponsor. And I thought, man, you're entertaining. You have good information out there. Like, yeah, I don't think you're going to be living high on the hog off this anytime soon. But like, it takes work. I know personally, it takes work. It takes equipment that you got to buy. There's subscription services, and like, you have an audience, so somebody should step up and contribute to that a little bit. And you got your Patreon folks, and that's awesome. Not everyone can do that. That's completely understandable. Shout out to however many people do. Awesome. Thank you on behalf of
Shout out to our Patreon folks over at bullwiththebutthole.com.
Love that URL. So I thought, well, Billy, if you think that's the case, why don't you do it? And I don't know how it's going to work out, but this way, I get to contribute and help you guys a little bit, and I get my stuff out there. And who knows? Um, as I said to you both, maybe someone will hear this and be like, "Yeah, they have an audience I want to reach for my whether it's my business, my side hustle, whatever." Maybe I'll be a spark that starts a fire.
Yeah,
Either
love
way,
that.
we
Burn,
get to have
baby,
a good
burn.
time.
Yeah.
So all of that said, Cruise Habit, I don't even have a good elevator pitch for Cruise Habit. Should have thought about that first, but it's a website about cruising. Sometimes I write about sailings I'm on. Sometimes Larissa writes her thoughts on certain cruise things. Other folks as well. Audrey's done that. We've other folks that have contributed. If anyone ever wants to contribute, reach out. But tips, information, blogs, and then we've got the Cruise Habit YouTube channel where I do vlogs, whether it's one a sailing or every day on a sailing, plus tips and information videos, tours of ships, tours of rooms. And then smaller part is the Cruise Habit shop for some cruise accessories. And it's honestly something that we started doing for fun years ago. We went out
Yep.
to a little kind of breakwater right outside of Port Everglades in Fort Lauderdale, which is one of the 3 busiest cruise ports in the world. And I brought up an app called I almost said Patreon, wrong keyword. Periscope. Thank you.
Periscope.
I know.
You
I
gotta
didn't
remember
forget.
the
I
days
Rest
of
just
in peace,
Periscope.
Periscope. I miss
Yeah.
Periscope so much.
Remember, so for those that don't know, Periscope, it was a streaming app. Anyone could open it up and
Live
just start
streaming,
streaming whatever they were doing, and it was better, honestly, than anything that exists today
which is
because it was great for
crazy.
organic discovery.
Yeah,
You didn't need
Periscope
to
was
have a big
crazy.
following. If you were
Yeah,
doing something
you
that
saw
was
the globe.
interesting,
Yeah.
then people were going to see it because interesting stuff was shown to folks like, hey, this might be interesting to you. You could also look in certain areas. You could, like Larissa said, there was a globe, like a map you could zoom in and be like, what's going on here? I want to see right now in this spot. It was a great app. So we're out there watching ships, and I've cruised all my life, lived in South Florida all my life, but I never watched ships sail away. So I thought this would be fun. And I opened up this app. It was the first time I ever went on Periscope. So many questions coming in as I was doing that, and people filing in asking about the ships and about where they were going, and I'm a big facts person. I love, not like FAX, FAT,
Right.
FACTS.
I'm not a big spelling person.
I'm not a big spelling person, and I do love facsimiles as well.
You don't want papers coming from your phone. You'd rather get some information.
Yes, having a
Yeah.
phone with a thermal printer, the battery life sucks.
Yeah,
But I love trivial stuff like why thermal paper is used in facts. Anywho, there were so many questions, and I was really having a good time talking about cruising and giving people information that they thought was interesting and or helpful. And people started asking, "Oh, what's your website?" And I didn't have one. So the next day, I went out and I did the same thing because it was fun. No other reason.
Mm-hmm.
What's
I
your
started
website?
doing every weekend. Yeah, every weekend we'd go
Yeah.
out there and
So
talk to people.
by the end of the
Nice.
second or third time, I was like,
Mhm.
I guess I need a website.
You need a
And
website.
I've worked in the cruise industry in a few capacities. I've been around it all my life because my father, who listens to the show, actually he watches on YouTube. So now he
Nice.
gets to see Leap Day William in all of his glory. And he worked in the industry for 41 years. So I've always been around. I've always been cruising. I love it. I love talking ship, as I say.
Yeah.
And
We love talking
that's
ship here
it.
as well. As you well know, we're a bunch of ship talkers.
Ship talkers.
We all talk ship now and again. And hey, that's what brought us all together here. Except for Larissa and I. Actually, that was because my brother wrecked my mom's car, but that's another story.
Oh. But I
You just said
definitely
your dad was watching, and you're going to bring that up.
No, he just put a button on it. He just put a tilt pin on it. And hearing the rhetoric of I won't dig deeper here. We'll dig deeper later, and then we'll chat about it and talk about it, and love to hear about it. Now, for those who don't know, we met Larissa and Billy, and I say we, I mean my lovely wife Nella, who is a friend of the pod, and my sexy wife. We met on Virgin Voyages our very first Virgin Voyages cruise. And do you still remember our meeting?
Yeah, I do.
It
I mean,
was
like,
because of Larissa.
I ran up to Nilla to tell her I liked all of her rainbow awesomeness.
her rainbow colors.
Yeah,
And
she
yeah,
had rainbow hair and clothes, and I was like, "Oh my god, she looks so cool."
It was
And
between
yeah.
Squid Ink and the Cave Bar.
No, it
What's
wasn't.
the
I was at the
original name? But
galley. It was at the
oh,
galley.
really?
Yeah, we met at the
yeah. Oh no,
galley.
you met my wife first.
Oh,
You met
maybe, but Billy was there,
we
I think.
we met in front of the tattoo shop
Squid
and
Ink
the
and the
That's
barber
Roundabout.
right.
Yeah,
spitting right by the big turnabout or whatever that little stage called, right in the center area.
yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
the roundabout.
Yeah.
Roundabout?
yes, and
Yeah.
roundabout that works. It was a roundabout there, and we met. And then I remember, of course, Billy had the coolest little clip-on glasses. And brought out his rainbow lenses in honor of Nella. And we chat and talked and met and hung out, whatever. And it was great, wonderful. Man, the vibe was so cool. The vibe was wonderful. And then we went our separate ways, did our thing, whatever. But like I've determined, and for the folks know, we talk about this on the pod a lot about how cruise, your time frames line up with certain people, right? Because you'll be on cruises with thousands and thousands of people, and or hundreds and hundreds of people at least, and you'll find out that you're following the same timelines as a smaller group of individuals. So those kind of become your folks or whatever. And you two became our tribe. And then of course, I had to get you on the podcast eventually. And then Larissa, I've been trying to get you on the podcast for the longest because you were awesome and wonderful. Now, tell us, let's break into a little bit of the interview portion. Give us your origin story. Tell us where you're from. How you come to be here.
Me? Oh,
You.
yes. So here, like in general, as in,
Let's
like
start.
with the cruise
Let's start with how you came to be on this earth.
We're not talking
on this
about
earth.
that time that your parents played petting zoo. We're fast forward a little bit.
Au
So
contraire,
good.
mon frere. Au contraire, I
I
definitely want
think
to chat
that's what he
about.
wants.
I want to hear the story of when and where the parents played the petting zoo. 41 years ago, roughly. And
Well, fortunately, I wasn't there yet to see
no,
that.
no.
I wouldn't know. But
Yeah.
well, I was born in Brazil. I was actually born in Recife, which is the northeast of the country.
Okay.
But just because my parents were kind of leaving the region when I was born and conceived, I guess as well. And I lived in São Paulo until I was 10 years old. And then I moved here to the US, to Florida, to Key Biscayne, I guess Miami area to be exact.
Have you been in Florida that whole time?
Yeah, I've been here for 30 years now. Yeah, I was like 9 turning 10. So it was in December of 93. So it just, my 30th anniversary just passed.
Congratulations on your 30th anniversary.
Yes. Thank you.
You're welcome. Awesome. And how do you find? I always intrigues me that people still live in Florida. And both of you guys live in Florida. How do you find living in Florida?
I like it. I like the area of Florida where we live. I like Southeast Florida a lot. We're near the beach, and it's also really easy to go on cruises from here. So, and travel in general. Since we love traveling, it's a really good place to be because we have direct flights almost anywhere. We've got 3 cruise ports within a couple hours. Yeah. The 3 largest cruise ports are close to us. So
I'll share a brief exchange that I had with my father several years back about living in South Florida. We're on the phone, and he said, because he lives now in North Carolina, and look at that, and like that, he's calling me. That was
Get
timing.
out.
Let's put him on speaker.
Yes, you should take the call.
I dare you. So he said, you talk about that you don't love South Florida, and you can work from anywhere. I've worked remotely for a long time, long before COVID.
Yeah, same.
Why do you stay there? And I said, well, we like traveling. We like taking cruises. We've got uh, 4 cruise ports, technically 5. One of them's really small, but like 2 of them within like an hour. We've got 3 international airports within an hour of us. We like going places. He said, so you stay in South Florida because you like
Can
to
get out.
leave South
Because of
Florida.
how easy it is to leave. Yes, because of how easy it is to leave. And we're like, yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
Yes.
and listen, where we live is lovely. Don't get me
It
wrong.
is really nice.
Oh, it absolutely is.
Yeah.
Florida
It
is
absolutely is.
bananas.
Oh no,
Where we live is
I wasn't,
lovely.
I wasn't even gonna say anything about the government or the people in some parts, but we're in like an okay part people wise, and I think it's also really pretty and nice, and there's fun stuff to
There
do
are
here. So
pockets of loveliness in Florida. Florida reminds me of a slice of Swiss cheese where the holes are the nice spots, but the majority of it is just cheesy, stanky, weird
And if
shit.
you leave it out for more than 5 minutes, it sweats.
It sweats.
yeah, that's so true.
That's so true.
That is the one downside is the weather. Although, the good thing about it is that we don't get winter, so that's also kind of
Right.
nice for me
That's a
because I get
beautiful
cold
thing.
very easily.
We had winter once. It was a Tuesday last year. So it was nice.
Now, Larissa, did you love cruising before you and Billy got together, or was that an added bonus, or a new thing that he introduced into your life?
I loved any kind of travel and still do. And I had gone on a couple of cruises before I met Billy because living in South Florida, my father also worked in the travel industry. So
Oh, okay.
another tie in there. But we definitely started going on them more frequently once I met Billy because at that point, like we decided we were going to Disney World a lot too. 'Cause that's also another
Because also in
another
Florida,
place
yeah.
I really like. Yeah.
Exactly. I'm
reason
in
we like living
California,
here.
until
Yeah.
until it got priced out. Disneyland was like the go-to, and then there are of course now
Yeah.
some nice ports here in California. We go to Long Beach,
Oh, of
up to the
course.
Bay Area and cruise from that area, whatever. So it's interesting how Florida and California have some of those, at least those aspects. Also, there's not a whole lot of winter here.
Except all of
Aspect
the year in San Francisco.
except well above a certain point in California is
Yeah.
too long. They do get winter like not too far north from where we are.
I mean, it's the
Um,
same cool temperature all year. It's basically winter here, but like all the time, which I think is kind of nice. I
Eh,
wouldn't mind that.
eh.
Billy hates it.
yeah.
No, I enjoy the cool, but like I don't know, man. San Francisco, the wind and the cool can
Oh,
get
I
me.
can't do cold. Me and Nell are very much
What's the
between
Churchill
that two.
quote? The
Uh,
coldest winter ever
Keep
experienced was the
calm and
summer in
stay
San
warm. I don't
Francisco.
know.
Maybe I'm misremembering that.
Yeah, you might be.
Now, judgmentalists or Leap Day William, on the other hand, they live in Maryland, and
Yeah, that's
they
cold.
get winter.
We can get all 4 seasons in a 7-day span.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
And I mean, hell, not even, we don't even need 7 days to do it. Like, we haven't gotten snow this week, but there was a day earlier this week where it was super nice in the morning, and then it just started raining like crazy by the afternoon, and then just rained for 2 straight days. And the rain just stopped today.
And now you have bats.
And now we've got bats
Is
here
bat season a
in
thing?
this office.
The bats in the office and the silver spoon coming to
But
get in your room.
yeah, my wife is a big Disney person. I'm a Disney person. We're actually going to be in Orlando St. Patrick's Day weekend. And I tried it now, like you talked about leaving it out for 5 minutes and it's sweating. Like, I try to avoid summer months in Florida like the plague. So us going in
Yeah.
mid-March should be perfect. I don't want to go much later than May. And there have been some Memorial Day weekends where we've been down there and it has been just atrocious. And
Yeah, it
Yeah,
starts
but
getting warm like
I
around
mean, even
March,
listen,
so
it was lovely
it could
when
be
we
a
were in
little
the
hit or
parks last
miss.
weekend, and today, at least in South Florida, I don't know what it is in Orlando. I've checked. It got up to 81 at some point earlier today.
But
Mm,
that's not too bad. That's
You
still
can't.
that
nice.
sounds beautiful.
That is no, that is way too freaking
It's
hot.
great. Yeah.
I mean, the problem with
You have a
Florida
narrow
heat is
threshold,
that,
Billy.
yeah. Well, I mean, to be fair, I mean, you know, you're Brazilian, Larissa, so that summer heat is, you know,
Yeah, but I'm
in your,
from, I mean, I
yeah,
grew up in
nah,
the
it's in your blood.
south. I grew up in the
It's in your
south
blood.
of Brazil. I was born in the place that's as hot as here, but where I lived is actually cooler than here. Like, and we have distinct seasons because I was in São Paulo, so
Yeah.
it's
what kind of
Miami's
humidity did you?
definitely hotter.
What
Miami's
kind of
definitely hotter.
humidity did you deal with there?
Oh, São Paulo, it rains kind of all the time, so that's so like wet humidity, just
São
precipitation
Paulo's
mostly.
just wet
It's
all
just
the
wet all
That
the
time.
time.
honestly, so
Used to. Actually, that's changed a bit with global warming and whatnot, but
it's a
it used
thing
to.
that when I'm in Disney World, land
Mhm.
seems to be just perfect every time I've ever been out there. But when I'm in Disney World and it's 4 parks, I want rain. I love rain because that rain does 2 things. Number one, it cuts that humidity out and it empties those parks. And both of those things are fine by me because I mean
See, I
it's been
wanted to
crazy
rain in the
recently.
morning and just as the park is opening. And then so just enough to make people go, maybe we don't. I want it to rain all day the day before, so they have the 24-hour time to cancel the ticket or change, postpone the ticket or whatever. And then just the morning before, so people go, I don't know, and no, maybe not. And then clear up and get nice and sunny and warm or whatever, like it did when we were there. When we went to for my 50th, we went to Disney World,
Yeah.
and it would rain at night, like almost on clockwork, like about 7:30, 8 o'clock, it would start raining. It kind of rained throughout the night, and then but in the morning, it would go away. The parks would clear, and we'd go to the parks, and it was empty. And then I got an advantage because I had they gave me a fast pass, a free fast pass. I'll have to tell you that on Orlando story. That was a reverse Italian air show. Um, that was,
Is that an expression or
oh,
Oh, is that a ride?
are you not familiar with the Italian air show? Okay,
no?
so here's
No.
here's here's what an Italian air show is. So an Italian air show is an event where it starts off, it's going to be great, right? And then something bad happens, and then something worse happens. So the reason it's called an Italian air show because there was
And then the jet fuel ignites.
well that's the worst thing, right? So then
Yeah.
so there was an Italian air show. So there was an Italian air show that 2 planes collided, right? So you go to the air show expecting a lot of fun, enjoying the air show, and then 2 planes collide. That's the bad thing that happens. Oh no, 2 planes collided, and then the planes crashed in the ground, and jet fuel sprayed over the audience, burning tons of people. That's the worst part, right? Just when you think it can't get any worse, all of a sudden you're covered in jet fuel and dying. So that's an Italian air show. You start things hoping to be
Oh,
good, and then it goes bad. And just when you think that's it, it gets worse.
Today I learned.
I
Yeah,
hadn't heard this expression before. That's
that
interesting.
isn't it.
Or of the event.
Before listening to Ice Cream Soldier, I hadn't heard that before. But yes, you can tell, Scoops, we talk in terms of Italian air shows, and I had an Italian air show on Tuesday, but I'm not going to talk about it today because it's really depressing, and I'm not going to bring this podcast down at the end of it. So I will save that for episode 77. But
Wow, that's a really great way to plug your podcast. Guys, make sure you tune in for the next episode. It's going to be depressing.
it's gonna suck. You are gonna get sad. Big Sexy's gonna get emotional. Get ready for it. And then listen to episode 78, where we go, oh shit, we're 2 episodes away from 80. I hope we got our shit together. And what other weird shit's gonna happen? But
I'm going to help you guys. Like, first, you have an amusing show here. I'm going to help you with from the tech parts. I'm going to help you iron things out. We can do this.
Yeah, it's good. It's gonna. I've been saying 2024. We're gonna get big. Look, things are gonna clean up. Things are gonna great. And then of course by episode 80, that's why I want to live stream it. So you're gonna help teach us how to do that, because we need to figure that out and make it a big thing.
And do you know why I can help you with that?
Because you live stream.
Because I do live and recorded videos. You can find them at the Cruise Habit YouTube channel. Come talk ship with us.
Landed the plug.
Yes.
Boom.
Yes. Now I have a random question. Not so random, because I want to do this thing later. But question: in your cruising, have you guys had an opportunity to meet and hang out with celebrities?
Celebrities. I'm thinking.
No, I mean, I
Oh, Billy has. Yes, you have. The edge sailing that I didn't go on, remember, because I had to visit my sister. It was like the first cruise out of North America, and you hung out with what is her name? News lady.
yeah,
Katie Couric?
No.
Maria Shriver.
No, you're gonna need to update some of your references.
Yeah,
here.
you will. Yeah, she's current.
Oh, I can't help you. I stopped watching the news a long time ago.
Well, I'm gonna take Barbara Walters off my list then. Damn it.
As much as I would have liked to have cruised with Walter Cronkite,
she wasn't him either. What is her name, Billy? I'm blanking on it, and I feel bad.
Natasha Chen.
Natasha Chen, yeah. So
that was like 3 down on my list. I was gonna get there.
She is super nice, and she's a big Disney Parks fan. She is a very, very nice lady. Actually, I have her phone number. I haven't texted her in a while. She's very nice. I also let's see. I was on a sailing with Kelsey Grammer and Kristen Bell and a few others when they were filming on board a ship, but I don't like bothering celebrities. I'm not a big celebrity person anyway, and I don't like
the celebrities. Richard Sherman, Billy, that's a huge one.
Yeah,
we cruised with Richard Sherman, the Sherman Brothers Disney. He did a private show for us. It was awesome. It was for like a group we're with. Yeah, he was really cool.
And Karen Allen, I got to hang out with Karen Allen from Raiders of the Lost Ark, and Animal House. What's the name of the movie? Animal House.
Animal House. Yeah,
Animal
House.
That's right.
Yeah. Just didn't sound right when I was saying.
Like when you hang out with celebrities, you realize that they're just regular people. They're really cool, fun folks, and it is hard to look at a celebrity going. Imagine the celebrity on the toilet taking a massive dump.
I did not hear the episode in which you said that. I need to find out how I missed that.
That is one of my favorite drops.
And that clip really again classic.
Yeah. Every time it gets around the clip. Yeah, thank you.
I have a not celebrity but celebrity in my eyes cruise thing. I think Larissa maybe she knows what's coming. No. So actually this is on. So I've sailed 13 different lines. Larissa's probably sailed 6 or 7 different lines. And I bring that up only to say this is another Virgin Voyages story. Yay! I have been on. You name a cruise line.
We didn't meet Richard Branson or anything. He's been on a few times, but never when we're on.
We have not. I don't know why he's avoiding me. So we're chatting with a couple up at Richard's rooftop.
I know area. It's coming. Yeah,
and they're both very pleasant, and the one of them had a very I don't remember what it was, but I recall it was an interesting and important sounding job for the Disney Corporation. And then in the conversation, as I'm chatting with her, I find out that her husband, who is standing there, was I believe, trumpet player in Mariachi Cobre, which is the mariachi band that's been playing in Epcot since the park opened. And they've recorded with Enrique Iglesias. They've done a whole bunch of stuff, and they're
amazing.
Not just by it's park entertainment centers, but by any standards, an incredibly talented group of musicians. And I found out that this guy was in it and that his father actually founded it. Everything, I don't remember anything else about that day because I was just totally focused on can I touch your feet? I was so excited.
You and Juan both like lost your
Billy.
minds. It was
I
so
ran.
funny.
Actually, yeah, you know what? It was on the sailing.
It was on the sailing we met.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was
because
on the
Juan
sailing
was
that
there.
we all met because Juan was there. That's right. Because I went and
Because
ran and
Juan was
got
equally
Juan,
excited. Juan
and I was like,
loves
dude, I just
mariachi
met the
music,
trumpet
and
player from Mariachi Cobre, and
he called his dad. Like he was like, "You
we
guys
were all
just
very
completely
excited.
lost it."
I can
And I
imagine.
remember I asked
Uncle
his
Juan. I
wife,
haven't
like
talked
I
to
was
Juan
like,
in forever.
yeah. And once like the guy stepped away, I asked him and his wife, like I asked the guy that's Mariachi Cobra, I was like, does this usually happen to you? And he was like, that's never happened to me. No. Nobody's ever been this excited
So
when I've
me
told
as
them.
celebrity.
Yeah.
Yes. I tell
Yes.
you, I mean, you know, the for a minute, you know, that's the fun thing about celebrities, right? When you meet them, the other regular people, they're just chill, whatever, and they hang out and oh no, they're just cool. I hope of course I have been a local celebrity, right? I tend to become a celebrity on cruise ships. Again,
I
my
can
name
see
is
that.
Big Sexy. That kind of gets known. I participate in like karaoke and any kind of, you know, sailor activities that we
Yeah, you're
can do.
awesome
I
at
will
karaoke.
do and get out there, you know. And so I love that experience. As a matter of fact, on our honeymoon, my wife had never really experienced. Well, before we got married, yeah, she experienced some of it. Like, him, oh, you're a big sexy girlfriend, like being accosted on the street, like, who are you? You know, that type of scenario. But on our honeymoon cruise, we were on Norwegian, and we had gone to Italy and Greece. And one of the ports in Italy, there was a big, was it Italy or was it Greece? I don't know. One of the ports, there's the largest mechanical clock tower in the world was there. And we got there just before noon. So we were able to see the noon show and see it do its thing. It was great. And we're getting ready to get on one of the big buses and do a tour of the city, what have you. And people, after the thing is over, just a large crowd. So people get over to the bus line, start getting ready to get on the bus. And people start getting close and pushing and whatever. And before I can turn around and say anything, some dude says, "Hey, you don't push him. That's Big Sexy. You step back. You give him space."
So you are not only a celebrity, you have an entourage, and you didn't even know it.
Didn't even know it. Didn't even
Nice.
know it. Like, well, I'm like, thanks, bro. Thank you. You know, it was really great. Come to find out, the reason so many people knew us is we were on you know how the shows have the newlywed game or whatever, they play game with the sailors, what have you. We had entered one of those and won those. What we hadn't realized is that they were being recorded, and I thought it was just gonna be recorded on a DVD. Oh no! They pumped it through
They
the
show it to
TV
everyone on the show.
system.
Yeah.
So we were on the TV show for this cruise, and it was a 14-day or 15-day cruise, right? So almost every day, 3 times a day, we were. So of course, we became cruise ship celebrities.
When people were getting ready, we're getting dressed for dinner at night, and they turn on the television.
There's me doing my
you.
weird, sexy dance. You know, my wife, you know, being funny and saying our phrase of "hotty toddy booty child." Like, we were everywhere we went. Somebody like, "Hey, sexies!" Ah.
See, that's so much better than the other ways that you could be recognized on a ship like that. So years ago, my mother, my parents were on a ship. I think it was in the Med. The incident happened in Turkey. I remember that much. They were somewhere in Turkey, and they were on some cobblestone roadway thing, and there were people walking on there, but there were also donkeys. And my mother slipped and fell in a puddle of donkey piss. And now this is a ship of only about 600 people. And it was like a longer sailing, like a couple weeks. So for the rest of the cruise, people are going up to my mom like, "Hey, are you okay? I saw you fall." Like, Yeah, you didn't see me fall. You
Oh,
saw me fall in a puddle of donkey piss.
That
oh.
happened to me, not with the donkey piss part, but when I
I
remember
was like, what? When did you fall? When did you
not
meet
the
Will Smith?
not the exact thing. No, we boarded a what cruise was that? It was a Royal Caribbean cruise. We
Oh,
had just boarded.
Empress
They
of
had
the
those
Seas.
planters. Oh, that was the
Yeah.
Cuba cruise. Yeah, there were like these planters that were about like knee high, and my
Oh,
hat fell off of my head, and I went to chase after it to grab it, and I tripped, and I flew, and I landed like this, like on my hands and knees, and like
oh.
3 days later, I'm up at the bar getting a drink by the pool, and this girl comes up to me and she goes, "Oh, I saw you on the first day you fell." I was like,
Saw you
"Oh,
eat it.
why are you bringing it
Oh.
up?" She's like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fine, just bruised my
Yeah,
ego,
right. My ego, my palms a little bit. Yeah, yeah.
So
my
there are all sorts of
knees."
things you can get known for.
True.
Yeah, there are.
I want to slip in one more story. I'm sorry, I'm way off topic, and I know we're running long, but I just
No,
realized because
I
we're
don't
talking about
mind.
meeting celebrities.
Yes.
So many moons ago, I had with some friends a Disney podcast, and one of the listeners was now I'm not into wrestling. It's just never been an area of interest for me. But one of the listeners was a guy who goes by Scotty Too Hottie. He was
Scotty
famous
Too
for doing.
Hottie.
He was many moons ago very famous. He was famous for
Very
like
no,
doing the
I know
worm.
Scotty Too. I know
The
who Scotty
worm.
Too Hottie
Yeah,
is.
he's awesome.
And so when we had an event in the parks one day, a meetup, he came and we ended up hanging out, and several of us exchanged info. And many times after that, I hung out in the parks with him. Super nice dude. I bring this up because we all know it's an act, right? And anything is an act, right? Right now, even though we're being ourselves, like it's still an act in the sense that we're still
Yeah.
having different conversations. Maybe you know what? This may not be the best example of this. This might just be us.
Today might
I'm
not
just
be the
wearing
best
pants.
example.
Um,
And we
so,
have Leap Day William on
but
the
you know
show.
what I mean? Like
Yes.
we all, it's like a form of code switching almost, right? At very
Right.
least. But then professional wrestling is just elevated like crazy. Like that is such a
Right.
performance, right? So the fun thing is that this gentleman, and I wish I could remember his real name, Scott something. He very nice, super, super quiet talker.
Yeah.
Like I
And like
mean,
mild mannered, just like completely
yes,
different in real life.
Right.
Scott
But
Garland.
lovely man. Yeah, Scott Garland.
Yeah, so like I find myself not a wrestling fan multiple times hanging out like in the Magic Kingdom and in Epcot with a famous professional wrestler who I have to like lean into here because we're in a theme park and he had interesting things to say, but it was always very quiet and I had to get very close to him. I
You
always
guys
thought
used
that
to
was a
tweet
fun
at each
example.
other a lot too. I know, like you were always talking to him online, and I would joke
Back when
that he
Twitter
was.
was interesting.
Yeah, I would joke that he was your pro
I remember
wrestler
those
pen pal.
days when it was called Twitter and it was interesting. It was about
I
professional
Yeah.
realized the other day that I use Twitter or X or whatever it's called now almost exclusively to communicate with one person. And I realized this because I opened up a browser tab and I started typing brogan.com into the browser window, the name of the friend that I communicate with via Twitter. And I'm like, oh, this isn't Brogan. This isn't Twitter. Like
Right.
it was totally just ingrained into my head that is what I use to communicate with that person. And it became that person.
And that
It's
shout out to Brogan who did our artwork.
and at this point, I mean, I've got to think you're like reconsidering, like maybe we should switch to WhatsApp or something. A buddy of ours just this past weekend, he was talking about how it seemed like there was even more vitriol and whatnot on Twitter, and or on X, and I was like, I'm not here to defend it at all, but I actually think there's probably not anymore. It's just everyone else left Twitter, so the only thing that's left
Is the vitriol.
yeah.
Yeah.
Who said that? Was it Matt or
David.
David? Oh, okay.
I'm
I'm like, who's on Twitter?
I don't. You know, it's funny. I don't catch a lot of it. I also don't search for a lot of it. Most of my time when I'm on Twitter is a friend of mine will post something and it'll pop up. I do a lot of nerd shit, right? So I a lot of Marvel. So I listen to a lot of like new rock stars and all those hosts or whatever. So they'll post something about Marvel and I'll read that, and then that kind of get me down a rabbit hole of scrolling through, see who's saying what. But I don't get. I've never really got into a lot of political vitriol or whatever. And when I see I kind of just scroll past, I'm like, I don't need negative shit in my life. I don't care about that. Oh, look, some titties. Like that is kind of where my Twitter feed kind of goes to. It really feeds me nerd shit and boobs, and I'm still happy with that.
Man.
The moment the boobs stop, I might consider finding a different format.
I didn't even know about titty Twitter. See, I don't know. I don't remember the last time I logged on, to be honest.
I'll tell you, man. Hashtag Titties Tuesday. Tuesdays are my favorite day of the week.
Oh,
Yeah, but that died years ago.
No, it did not.
No,
it's going strong. At least on my feed. But then again, I cultivate it. Shout out to the algorithms. Yeah, this is an educational podcast over here, Big Sexy Digital Nomad.
Very educational. We talked about bats. We talked about titties on Twitter.
Italian air shows.
Italian air shows. I'm learning all sorts of things.
Which the more I say Italian air or hear Italian air show, starts to sound like a sex thing.
Definitely. I thought that's what it was going to be.
Give her the old Italian air show, if you know what I mean. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge, right, right.
What was the other one? Petting zoo?
And a petting zoo. And a petting zoo. Yeah. I'm definitely.
All right, I got to get to this rally.
I'm just going to listen to the end of this episode for the summary. But again, guys, thank you guys for hanging out, for joining us. So again, we have a new sponsor that'll come up and you'll start seeing that. We'll start doing ads and stuff for cruisehabit.com, so listeners enjoy. And before we start all the ad shit, seriously, if you're thinking about going on a cruise, hop your ass on over to cruisehabit.com. There's so much good information there.
Yes.
It's helped out immensely with our cruising, and it's made me want to do other cruises. I mean, it also made me want to live their life a bit, because I mean, fuck, I really want to go on cruise and live stream. I mean, how cool if we were all doing that as a big group and together. We'd have so much stupid fun if we were constant cruise, but it would be fucking insane. Fingers crossed, fingers and toes, and if I could, my nose, that's going to happen in the near future. But also feel free to chat with us. Go to Big Sexy Nomad at everywhere on all the social medias. And if you have any social medias you guys want to plug or send people to?
Just search Cruise Habit wherever you like to take stuff in. We've got, we have like a social landing page. Just search Cruise Habit. We're on Instagram. Got a lot of stuff, more and more stuff on YouTube. Then there's the website and the shop. Just search it. You'll find us. Honestly, my passion is helping people have more fun cruising, because I have a good time with it.
Yeah. And that's Cruise Habit, one word, no spaces, dashes, or anything.
The Z is silent.
You both work together on Cruise Habit, correct? .com. That's a both of you thing.
Yeah, I would say Larissa tells me when something I'm doing is a bad idea. Once in a while, I'll write something.
Which is important.
I edit the posts. I do that kind of stuff. And for the YouTube videos when we're at sea, then I do some more social media stuff and all of that. So we both work on it.
Yeah, and be sure, listeners, if you want to go and also become a sponsor of the podcast, feel free to swing over to bullwiththebutthole.com. Check us out on social media.
So good.
And we appreciate.
And if you get a bat, I know a guy.
Yeah.
You have a bat guy. Yeah.
You have a bat guy. Not a Batman. Bat guy. All right, y'all. Well, hey, y'all. In the meantime, safe travels.